Hey fam, welcome back to the channel. And as you can see by the title, today is gonna be another weekly ingredient meal prep. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is DeeDee. I've been able to lose 95 pounds and I've been focusing on how I can maintain and sustain that weight loss. But as of lately, my focus has also shifted to my gut health, hormonal health, and basically overall well-being. So I film my meal preps weekly to hopefully help some of you that are on a similar journey like myself. So now let's talk about the menu for this week. So first off, we'll be making some Southwest ground turkey. We're also making some pan-seared cod fillet. And lastly, some nice juicy chicken thighs that we're doing a little bit different this week. In addition to that, I've been realizing lately that salads have been my go-to for work lunches lately. So you know what? This is a realistic, simple meal prep. And I'm just gonna go ahead and add some mason jar salads to this week as well, so it can be quick and go options for me throughout the week. Towards the end of this video, I'll be sharing with you how I plan to mix and match all of these meals throughout the week. So stay tuned for that. All right, fam, let's jump right into this meal prep. I'm starting off with the vegetables because we're making our Southwest ground turkey mixture first. So here I have some green, red, and yellow bell peppers and a medium-sized Vidalia onion. Y'all already know I love adding vegetables into recipes whenever I can. Not only do they add flavor and texture, but it's an easy way to add more nutrients into the meals. Now I'm slicing up everything, even using the tops of the peppers, y'all, because we are not wasting those good vegetables today. All right, everything is chopped up. It's time to head over to that stove. I have my skillet heating over medium-high heat with a little extra virgin olive oil up in there. And now I'm adding all of those peppers and onions into the skillet. I'm gonna go ahead and let these cook for about 3 to 5 minutes to start softening up. One thing I learned over the years is that healthy eating becomes so much easier when your food actually tastes good. And the vegetables like these peppers and onions add so much flavor without making things complicated. So after about 5 minutes, the peppers are starting to soften up, as you can see. And all I'm doing here is creating a little opening in the center of the skillet, and I am adding in my ground turkey. So today I'm using one package of 93.7 ground turkey, and the other package is 85.15. I like to combine them because I get a little extra flavor and moisture from the 85.15 while still keeping things protein focused. So I'm just breaking everything apart and then placing a lid on top to help speed up the cooking process. So after about 5 minutes, I come back. I can tell the meat is starting to cook nicely, but you still see that red, so we already know it's not fully cooked. I'm still breaking things apart, but it's time to start to season. I'm using some garlic powder, onion powder, of course my Tony's Creole seasoning to add that little Cajun flair. I'm using that ground cayenne red pepper because I like my spice, and I'm also adding some Goya total seasoning and some black pepper. And y'all already know, do not be afraid to season your food. I always tell you that. I'm just mixing everything together while I continue to break apart that ground turkey. I want every single bite to have that flavor. So I'm gonna allow this to go ahead and sizzle for about 5 to 7 minutes. And when I come back, that ground turkey is almost cooked through. But now it's time to build those Southwest flavors. I'm starting off with some small diced tomatoes and I'm mixing it in. If you have some tomato paste, you can add that here as well. I'm also adding some fire roasted corn and some black beans into this mixture. Now I did drain both the corn and the black beans before adding them, and then I'm just mixing everything together and letting those flavors come together. One thing I love about this mixture is that it brings together protein and fiber. Now the turkey gives me plenty of protein, but the beans, the veggies, and the corn help with that fiber that supports digestion and gut health. All right, that had been simmering for about 5 minutes, and now the mixture is exactly where I want it. There's still a little bit of moisture left in the bottom of that skillet, and I love that because as it cools down and it sits throughout the week, all those flavors continue to develop. This meal is gonna help me stay on track and leave me feeling good afterwards. And that is the Southwest turkey mixture. It is complete. I'm gonna place it to the side to let it cool down, and it's time to move on to these chicken thighs. Now y'all already know Chicken thighs are one of my favorite proteins because they stay juicy and full of flavor. Now, the first thing I like to do is trim off any excess fat when I am using skinless chicken thighs because they're supposed to be skinless, okay? Then I'm adding a little bit of olive oil, and then I'm using my staple seasonings, my garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, total Creole seasoning, a little bit of that Goya total seasoning. And what I'm adding here is also some salt and some paprika. And then I love to mix it on in. I'm making sure every single piece gets coated, and these chicken thighs are looking good already. One thing I always tell people is don't make healthy food boring. Season your food, honey. Build that flavor because consistency is so much easier when you actually enjoy what you're eating. My skillet is heating over medium-high heat with olive oil. I'm placing the chicken thighs in carefully and making sure not to overcrowd the pan. And today I'm doing something a little bit different. I am searing them first because these chicken thighs are a little bit thicker than normal. And I want beautiful color on the outside before finishing them off in the oven. So what I'm doing here is cooking them for about 4 minutes per side just to get that nice sear. And once they are browned, baby, I am removing them, and I am gonna just go ahead and repeat that process with the second batch. Now that all the chicken thighs are nicely seared, I'm just transferring them into an aluminum baking pan because y'all know easy cleanup is always appreciated around here. The oven has been preheating on 375 degrees. I'm gonna go ahead and place these in for about 15 to 20 minutes. Then we're gonna check it out with a thermometer to make sure they are good. Now it's time for us to move on to our cod. Now this is actually only my second time cooking cod. Now the first time I cooked it in the air fryer and it was delicious. But today we are switching things up and cooking it in a skillet. So I started off by patting each fillet dry, and then I drizzled a little bit of olive oil over the fish. Now for seasonings, I'm using the same staple seasonings, y'all. My garlic powder, my onion powder, my black pepper, my Creole seasonings, and I'm also adding a little bit of parsley flakes. So what I do is turn it over and season both sides well because fish needs flavor too. Now one thing I have been trying to do is incorporate a little bit more seafood into my routine. Seafood for me is a great source of protein, and it helps me add more variety throughout the week. Now at the end, I wanted some more color, y'all, so I added paprika on one side, so you know you got to flip it over and add paprika to the other side. Now once everything is seasoned nicely, we're moving over to that stove. I have some olive oil and 2 tablespoons of butter. Now that butter is going to add flavor and help create that beautiful finish on the fish. So I placed the cod in carefully, cooked it for about 4 to 5 minutes per side because these fillets are fairly thick. Now that second one tried to break apart a little on me, but you know what? We're not playing with that fillet. We flipped it around. Now, once they were fully cooked, I'm spooning some of that buttery goodness right there over the top. And y'all, these cod fillets turned out beautiful. They are tender, flaky, and packed with flavor. That butter and those seasonings and that golden color came together perfectly. All right, so the cod fillets are done. The chicken thighs have been baking for about 20 minutes now. And y'all, these look so good. I'm gonna place them to the side to cool off. And we are gonna move on to our Mason salad jars. Y'all, this is my favorite work lunch lately. I've been realizing it. So I decided, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and prepare some jars so I can just grab and go because these are game changers. So what I'm using to prep today is some English cucumbers. Y'all saw me slice them up. I'm also measuring out my deli meat, about 2 ounces for each jar. So I'm cutting those up as well. And that's all I'm doing, y'all. That's the only prep I need for these salad jars. So now it's time for me to add this Italian dressing. I've been doing my best to measure, and I'm adding 2 tablespoons of Italian dressing to each jar. Y'all, dressing and those calories can add up quickly. So please, please measure. Then I'm adding some mild pico de gallo. I love this because it has the onions, the cilantro, and the tomatoes. And that's what I love in my salad. So I'm adding that into each jar. And then I'm placing in the cucumbers. Y'all, it's all about layering so your salad does not get soggy. My next step is to add in 1 boiled egg to each single jar. I could have chopped that up separately, but for me, this is much easier. So that's what I did. Then I'm placing in my deli meat equally into each jar. And the next step is to just go ahead and add my Fiesta blend cheese. And then the last step are the greens. You can use shredded lettuce, you could use spinach, but today all I'm adding is some romaine lettuce, about 1.5 to 2 cups for each jar. Salads are so convenient for me, and that's why I love making these jars ahead of time. And with that, that's what my Mason salad jars look like. Now let me show you our final lineup for the week. I have my 3 Mason salad jars that we just made. This is so convenient and it's a quick grab and go lunch for work. I also have my Southwest ground turkey that tastes so delicious and my juicy skinless chicken thighs along with my pan-seared cod fillets. Y'all, this ingredient meal prep is gonna keep me consistent and on track throughout the week. Fam, my meal prep is complete, so you already know I am feeling good and I am feeling ready for the week. Now let's chat through the mix and match meal options from the ingredient prep that I cooked today. So we're gonna start off with the Southwest ground turkey. Y'all, I have been loving ground turkey lately. I know I could have used ground beef, but baby, we use ground turkey. And when I was making this, I was thinking, ooh, I could make burritos. I was thinking I could add it to a bowl, add some cauliflower rice. I was also thinking I could add it on top of salad and I could just eat that as a topper and make it like a little Southwestern salad. I could just eat it by itself. So that made me feel really good when I was making it. Now, usually when I made that, especially with the Southwest egg rolls, I added cheese, but I wanted that variety. So I was thinking whatever meal that I'm making that day with it, I can add cheese if I choose to. Okay, it's all about variety. Now for the chicken thighs, I don't know if you noticed, I only made 3 Mason salad jars. I did that purposely because the other 2 days, I planned on cutting up some of those chicken thighs and placing them in, and I'm maybe making like a little Cobb salad if I want to, or I can make me a protein bowl. I can cut up the chicken thighs into like little cubes and add them to that Southwest turkey mixture, or I can eat them alone. I can add a side salad, or I can just throw a quick veggie and stir fry it and add that to that. So I was thinking I can do that. For the cod fillets, I was thinking the same exact thing. I can eat them alone. I can add like a quick little veggie. I can add a little bit of side salad or make them into a salad. Or I can even add one of those cod fillets to one of the wraps and make me a fish sandwich, y'all. Add a little bit of mustard on top. Who knows? There's just variety. That's why I love eating like this, and that's why I love preparing myself for success throughout the week, because I don't feel deprived. My food is good. I know it's nutritious. I know these are foods that align with my goals, and I do not feel restricted whatsoever. And these meals are gonna help make staying consistent and staying on track with my journey so much easier. Now I wanna hear from you. Any meals I make today look good to you? Are you thinking about trying any of them? Let me know down below. And of course, you already know, if you're meal prepping this week or ingredient prepping, let me know what's on your menu. I would love to know, okay? Let your sister know. All right, fam, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.